The U.S. Surgeon General says we're in a loneliness epidemic. 1 in 4 adults feels completely isolated and disconnected. But you? You chose this. You looked at your phone, saw their name, and decided not today. Not anymore. And here's the part nobody talks about. You don't feel lonely. You don't feel broken. You feel more at peace than you have in years.
You weren't always like this. There was a time when you were the reliable one, the friend who picked up at 2 a.m., the one who kept the peace, the person who absorbed everyone's problems without being asked.
People called when things fell apart, and you always answered. You gave the same advice over and over. Watched them ignore it, watched them come back anyway. Until one day, you just didn't pick up. And the world didn't end. It just got quieter. Psychologists have a name for what happened to you. When you've been drained too many times, when people have taken more than they've given, your brain doesn't wait for permission. It moves you out of social mode and into protection mode. Researchers call it the dorsal vagal response. In plain English, shutdown, withdrawal, conservation. Not because something is wrong with you, because your nervous system is doing exactly what it's designed to do, protecting your energy like the limited resource it actually is. Where it started. But where did your brain learn that people were a threat in the first place? For a lot of us, it goes back further than we'd like to admit. Maybe you grew up reading the room before you could read books, watching your parents' face the moment they walked in, trying to figure out what kind of night it was going to be. You learned that love and unpredictability came as a package deal. So you adapted. You became the one who could sense tension before anyone spoke. The one who found that the safest place was often alone.
That's not a flaw. That's a survival blueprint your younger self drew to get through. And now, as an adult, that same pattern shows up every time someone gets too close. You didn't become guarded for no reason. You became guarded because you had to.
Walls versus boundaries, knowing the difference.
Here's where it gets honest. Not all cutting off is the same. The CDC reports that long-term social isolation raises your risk of heart disease by 29% and stroke by 32%. It's not just emotional, it's physical.
But here's what they don't tell you. Being surrounded by the wrong people is just as damaging. So how do you know where you stand? Walls block everyone. The good, the bad, the uncertain, they're built from fear. Boundaries are selective. They're built from self-awareness. If you cut someone off and felt relief, that's data. If you cut someone off and felt peace, that's not isolation, that's protection. The question isn't whether to let people in, it's which people actually deserve access to your peace.
You already know exactly who those people are. You've been watching them for years.
Why you see people so clearly. Here's something worth understanding about yourself. You don't cut people off randomly. You cut them off because you've become incredibly good at recognizing patterns. The friend who only calls when they need something, you spotted it by month 2. The family member whose compliments always come with conditions, you learned their rhythm years ago. The person who love bombs you then disappears, you saw the cycle before it completed. Research shows that people who experienced early emotional stress develop heightened activity in their brain's threat detection regions. In other words, your brain got really, really good at reading people. You're not paranoid. You're not too sensitive. You're processing social information at a level most people never access. That ability to sense when something is off, that's not a flaw. That's thousands of hours of lived experience, refined into an early warning system. And when that system says, this person will drain you, you've learned to listen. You're not broken, you're not cold, you're just selective. And that is not the same thing. Solitude is not loneliness. Society has a word for people like you. Isolated, withdrawn, antisocial. But those words assume something is missing, that you're incomplete without constant connection.
Here's a different word, solitude. Loneliness is the absence of connection you want. Solitude is the presence of peace you chose. You're not sitting alone wishing someone would call. You're sitting in your own space, finally able to hear yourself think.
Your phone is quiet, and that quiet feels like relief, not rejection. The people who don't understand will say you're running away from something. But you know the truth. You're not running away, you're running toward something. Toward peace, toward clarity, toward a version of yourself that only exists outside of chaos. That's not isolation, that's sanctuary. You're not hiding from the world, you're finally building one that actually fits you.
Close. If you're watching this wondering if something is wrong with you, hear me clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not cold, you are not heartless, you are not incapable of love. You are someone who learned the hard way that not everyone deserves access to your energy.